Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. Today we are going to continue taking a look at this Peavey T-60 guitar that I picked up in the last episode, or maybe previous, we'll see when this gets released. Either way, today we are going to tear this thing down and restring it and see if that makes a difference in the sound. As you can see, we have these weird colored strings which are, I'm not exactly sure what brand these are, but they're coated with some sort of paint, and you can see that it's chipping off here on the pickguard. So we're going to take these strings off, put a brand new set of D'Addario XT nickel-plated steel strings, 10 to 46. This will be my first experience with this set of strings. I picked them up based on Aguefish's recommendation, so hopefully they work out here. Alright, let's go ahead and get to work. So since this is a string-through guitar, we're going to have to turn it over to get strings out. I do like these strings for cleanup because I can see them on the floor. So oddly enough, none of these socket sets that I have will work on these tuners here. So I just rummaged through my toolbox and happened to find this random wrench here. Not exactly sure what size it is, but it seems like it's got to be metric. So I'm just going to use this to loosen up all of these tuners and make sure that they need no servicing. I'm also going to try to keep them in order so that just in case there are different heights that they are maintained here. I'm not sure if that's the case here or not, but just in case, let's err on the side of caution. Looks like that one doesn't want to come loose, so we're just going to leave it for now and and keep disassembling here. If I had to guess, I would say that that string tree has never been removed. And you can see it does have two little grooves on it, so we'll have to just make sure that those match as well. Gonna need a smaller screwdriver for that one. Let's move on down here. These screws should all be the same, so I'm less concerned about order here. I'm just worried about not stripping them. Damn, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 screws to get through, so obviously we're going to speed this up. I don't usually do this with guitars, but this is ridiculous. I'm just going to use this very slowly. And I think this will be a better option to get all these screws out. And I was almost stripping them just because they're in there pretty good. So I needed a little extra torque. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'm guiding the tip of this Phillips head driver into the head so I don't touch the wood at all. Then it's just a matter of having a firm touch on the trigger. Not a single stripped screw. Alright, let's see if we can remove this pickguard assembly or if we need to remove some of these screws. Looks like it still has something that's connecting it to the guitar. I'm going to assume it's these height adjusters, maybe the outside screws here. Again, I'm going to need a smaller screwdriver. 1 second. Alright, we've got a smaller Phillips head. Let's go ahead and take out these screws. I think these are the last 8 that we need to take out. Alright, 2 things to note, or maybe 3 things, but maybe we'll just count these as 1 because we have some cracks right here. There's one right here. And maybe one right there as well. So these pick ring covers are not perfect, but they're kind of floating in here. Oh, one more screw. So it looks like we can pull this whole thing up now, and we can. So our only tether is down here. So let's go ahead and flip this up so we can see what we're dealing with. We have gold back humbuckers that are Peavey branded. They're not actually Peavey branded. There's no branding on here, but they are made by Peavey. They have these adjustment screws here. It's like a ground that's soldered to the bottom. And nice shielding. Look at the shielding in here. That's really, really nice. And then shielding on the back here, we have 250K pots. These are the original. Let's see if we can get a pot date on here. Looks like they soldered all over the pot dates, but either way, I'm sure that they're the originals. What do we have here? 8/19. Can't read that. Someone's signature there that signed off for quality control. Let's take a look at the routes. Very, very nice. A lot of Gibsons and some Fenders suffer from dull router blades in these pockets. That is not the case here. These are sharp, sharp, sharp. All right, well, I've got the screwdriver. Let's go ahead and remove the truss rod cover. Looks like the truss rod has never been touched in there, but it's got a little bit poking out, but I think that's probably from the factory. All right, let's go ahead and clean this sucker up and put her back together. All right, the last thing to remove is this bridge. So let's go ahead and remove these 4 screws here. These look like screwdriver territory, so we're just going to stick with the old Phillips head. Back to the driver. Whew, those are long screws. This bridge is very hefty. It has a number on the bottom, reads 750260001. Not sure what that means. You can see our little grounding wire there. The ferrules, they come in from the backside right there. Pretty nice design. Really heavy. Okay, let's go ahead and wipe this sucker down. Start with the neck. This nut actually was coming right out, so I'm just going to take it out. And it doesn't need any adhesive in there, but you want it a little stickier than that usually. I'm just using today Dunlop Formula 65 guitar polish. Pretty standard product. You can get it at any guitar or music store in the country pretty much, or any online vendor as well. Just want to get any grime off of this fingerboard, which, to be fair, it's pretty clean. It still has the original gloss finish, so that's pretty nice, and you can tell how clean it is as a result. So luckily not much to do here other than a quick wipe down, and of course the headstock as well. Okay, let's do the front, then we'll flip it over and get the back. I usually do take the strap buttons off in a full teardown, but in more cases than not, I find that taking those out and putting those in causes more problems than it's worth. So there's nothing wrong with this. It's rock solid. No reason to really take it out. I can clean around it very well, and it's not in the way. Want to be careful not to remove the shielding. It's a little more burly than tin foil, but not much. So you don't want to just go in there ripping around. And there is a little black spot right here. I'm not going to tilt up just so you can see it, but I want to try to rub that a little bit harder, see if I can get rid of that little spot. There is a possibility that that spot is just in the wood and the finish is over it, but I just don't think so. Well, what's there? So what I love about 40-year-old guitars is little things like this. You got some tan lines going on, and this is just from this wood aging from being exposed to the sun or whatever kind of elements, and this wood under the pickguard not. So pretty stark difference there. This is probably closer to what it looked like when you purchased it new, and this, wherever the exposed wood is outside of the pickguard, is what's aged. Alright, so I'm going to try to clean up this pickguard a little bit too, put that back on, and then turn it over to get the back. Not too much to do there, luckily. Okay, so that fits nicely back in there. Let's go ahead and clean up the outside of the pickguard. Instead of spraying it directly on there and getting it on the pickups, I'll use the spray on the towel method. See if I can get under this ring at all. And I don't know anything about the history of this guitar, but just based on some initial thoughts, I would say that this pickguard has either never been off or it's been years since it's been off. Doesn't look like that area has been too molested over the years. Looks like this isn't going to be perfect, but luckily it's a pickguard. Alright, I think I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and get some of these screws back in here. I'm not cranking these all the way down. Just getting them really, really close, and then I'm going to finish them by hand just because I think this thing has a little too much torque. And just for kicks, you can always wind your clutch down. Just put on something ridiculous like 5, see what that gets us. Nope. Take it right down to 1. There, that's pretty good. Okay, again, I don't recommend this as the tool for the job, but if you're going to use an electrical driver, then just make sure to have your clutch set as low as possible. That really came in handy. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go around these with the screwdriver, make sure that they're a little tighter. There's just so many damn screws in this thing. All right, back to here. All right, let's flip her over and do the back. Think that looks good. Oh, man, this is a heavy ass body. If you were wondering where most, or I guess all of the heft is in this guitar, it is in the body, because this thing is light, light, light. There's a little bit of nice flame in this piece. This is a pretty pedestrian piece. Other than this area right here is very pretty. But otherwise, this half, very nice. So this is Peavey's micro tilt adjustment system here. They have a screw, and it looks like it's wound out quite a bit there. So we'll have to look and make sure that our neck is not tilted, but it was playing perfectly before, so I assume it's where it needs to be. Alright, so that's a complete teardown. Let's go ahead and put this back together, restring it, bring it back to life. Let's first make sure that this is lined up where it needs to be. Yeah, looks right. Alright, bolt on. Want to make sure that your nut goes in so that the smallest string, the low E string, is here and the thicker one is over here. Alright, truss rod cover next. String tree next. Alright, we are back together. Alright, let's bust into this brand new set of strings. see what we got. Give back, earn more. It's like a player's circle if you want to have some sort of subscription, maybe. Not exactly sure. But got a nice little color code there for your barrels, and some other information here if you'd like to get that. Looks like they're wound up in pairs. So this looks like the E and A string here. I would say our D and G string are this one. And our B and E strings are here. Alright, now all we gotta do is tune her up, plug her in, see how she sounds. Alright, we're all strung up, all cleaned up, and ready to rock and roll with brand new strings. So here's what we've got. We're plugged into the positive grid Spark 40 amp, and we are just going straight to the clean tone. That's our humbucker. Looks like the phase switch was up, which I think was out of phase. Let's go ahead and kick it down into the bridge. Open, open. So sounds great. So far these strings feel really nice. Of course, this is the very first time with me playing them, so they've got a long way to go. But let's go ahead and hear something with a little more gain and cap it at that. Alright, so we're in our plexi tone, the Marshall plexi tone. They call it something different because they can't use the Marshall name, but this is what that sounds like. Alright, this is a fun guitar. So that's a glimpse into what I do when I do a full guitar teardown. Usually involves removing almost every screw except for maybe the strap buttons, which to me aren't that necessary, especially if they're already in there nice and rock solid. You don't want to upset how that screw is set into those threads. But this guitar has very minimal fret wear. The nut, although it is a little loose in there, feels nice and tight when there's strings with tension on it. The back of the neck is very smooth and glossy. Feel like I have no inhibitions there. The tuners feel rock solid. I just tightened the Phillips head screw on the end of each one of these just a tad to give it a little more tension. Other than that, it stays in tune really, really well. These strings are brand new, so they're going to obviously have some tuning instability at first, but once they bed in, they'll be great. So hopefully you like this tear apart of this Peavey T-60. I haven't seen too many videos like this on the web, so if you do like this content, feel free to like and subscribe. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.